Can you listen to my brain right now? Tell me what you hear. That right there? That's pain. I'm just imagining like Doc from Cars without a roof. Huh? Huh? Why is everyone so obsessed with milk? I don't want to talk about it. I'm so salty. You don't understand. I'm so salty. Hey, gang. This one was rough. You know what? Let's start off right. Hello. My name's Alexa, kind of, and I forget books. I'm sorry if the lighting's fucked. This is my 7th time trying to record this. I think I've hit the stop-start button 6 or 7 times. I can't. So I'm sorry if I'm like just the teensy bit frustrated in this one. I'm trying. It's been months since I filmed my last video. A lot of life has happened in between those last couple months. The last time you saw me, well, the last time I saw you, the last time I filmed. I'm filming as the sun's setting, so my light right now is a lamp that actually belongs back there that I dragged over here. And I wanted to film in my book nook. Hello here, welcome to my book nook. But I was scared that it'd be too echoey down here. And then I was like, girl, that's why you bought a mic. This little $7 mic from Amazon, not sponsored. So, yeah, we're trying this out. I did a couple tests. I didn't sound echoey because of the mic, so I'm hoping that it's fine. Because if it's not, I'm gonna lose it. Today, we're gonna be talking about Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. If this looks familiar, that's because it's the sequel to Divine Rivals, which was the first book we talked about. This sequel. I'm just gonna lean back for a second. The sequel took it out of me. I was kind of in a reading slump, and I'm not sure if life put me in a reading slump or if it was this book. It's not fair to say that it's the book because I can't tell. But it was one or the other. Or maybe both. Maybe it was like both things. You know. I'm gonna try my best to break this down. It is not going to be as cohesive as the last video. It's not gonna cover as many things. One, because I already filmed this shit so many times. 2, because this shit pained me. And 3, I just don't have it in me. Please love me for me. Love me for what I can do. This, whatever this is going to turn out to be, this I can do. We start off with Iris back in Oath, because it's 2 weeks after the end of the last book. She's back in Oath, she's being stalked. She finds out that it's Roman's dad, who's like, where's my son? Where is he? And he finds out, he infers that he's back in Avalon Bluff, kind of. And he's like, you left him? You left my son? And she was like, I didn't want to. Iris and Addie are offered by Helena, who is the editor-in-chief of the Inkradin Tribune, because they didn't get fired, which they shouldn't, for clarity, like, they shouldn't have gotten fired for that, so don't think that they should have. They really should. That wasn't their fault. Also, I think I might take these off for a second. Or for the rest of the video, I think. They're offered, like, hey, you guys can go back to the front. We're gonna do things a little differently. If you say no, it's fine. You need to think this through. Please think this through. This is, like, not an easy decision. This is not something you should just, like, boom, yes, I'll go back. No, think it through. I mean, they do, but they don't. You know what I mean? So Helena does tell them that this time around they're not going to be using the trains because they've been compromised. Instead, she hired this mail carrier, kind of part-time mail carrier, part-time racer, named Tobias. And he drives what they call a roadster. I'm just imagining like Doc from Cars without a roof. So if you just, like, decapitate him, that's what I'm imagining. I don't know if that helps you. He's going to be driving them from place to place, like, every couple days. They're going to be staying in certain towns, writing from there, and then he's going to deliver it, and he's going to pick them back up, like, the following day and take them to the next place. And they're not going to get very close to the front, kind of, because danger. They pretty much immediately say yes, but they give Helena, like, the, okay, we'll think about it overnight. And I think it's a couple days later, but Iris ends up meeting up with Sarah Prindle, who wasn't important in the last book, but she is in this book. So I'm not sure if I mentioned her last time, but she was one of the assistants at the Oath Gazette, which was the previous newspaper that Iris worked for. She was sweet. She was cool. Iris meets up with her in this cafe, and basically is like, hey, so you and your dad go to, like, the museum every weekend, right? Which, I've been to museums. They're fine. They're nice. I like them. They're okay. They're cool to look at sometimes. I have to be in, like, the mood for them. Are there any museum lovers watching? If you do love museums, would you go every weekend? Do you go every weekend? That seems excessive. Wouldn't that get boring? Wouldn't you get tired of it? I don't know. I thought that was a little weird. Like, maybe like once a month, twice a month. Every weekend? Shit. Both days of the weekend? Anyway. Sarah's like, yeah, we do. We go every weekend. What's up? And she's like, I need your help to steal something. So the three of them, being Iris, Sarah, and Addie, pull off a heist. For what, you might be wondering? The first Alouette, of course, being the other magical typewriter. Because Iris didn't take her typewriter when Forrest was, like, dragging her by the back of her fucking neck last book. So she thinks, you know what? He's alive. I need a way to communicate with him. I believe I have to try. You know, I believe he has one of the other typewriters. Also, they found out that Roman is alive and he's writing for the Oath Gazette pro-Dacre propaganda. He doesn't have any of his memories. He doesn't know any better. It's sad. But then, like, fucking Helena and Addie were, like, looking at Iris all dramatic, like, Roman turned on us. Turned on y'all. Do y'all even know what happened? Did Iris not explain that to you? He was kidnapped. he was kidnapped against his will when he was on the verge of death, healed, retained no memories, which was purposeful, so that he could be molded into Dacre's, like pawn. Basically, we fast forward a little bit. The heist goes fine. Iris gets the first Alouette. They drive the next morning to their first place, which is actually, I think it's called Riverdown, which is where Marisol is staying, because Avalon Bluff got taken over. It got sacked. So she's staying with one of her other sisters, because remember, she considers Helena and someone else like her sisters. They're not birth sisters, but they're basically sisters. She's staying with her. Her name's Lucy. She's real reserved. She's real stern. But, once she opens up, she's nice. She's caring. It just takes a lot to get her to open up. Addie and Iris go and stay the night there. And it was shocking how little page time Marisol got this book. Like, I was just surprised that, like, she was around for, like, a fucking chapter in the beginning. And then past that, maybe one more chapter. She was barely fucking there. I was like, wow, okay. Way to shaft her. Okay, didn't know we were doing that. And she gives Iris this little book that's, like, about birds. And she gives this, like, really dark, like, anecdote about nightingales that I'm not going to repeat because, like, it was disturbing as fuck. And it kind of just came out of nowhere. This book came out of fucking nowhere. It was set up that, like, this little book about birds would be super important. It wasn't. It was kind of pointless. I don't know why that took up as much time as it did in the book. Like, we had, like, paragraphs describing this book and, like, talking about it. This might sound mean, but, like, I don't give a shit. Why are we talking about this? There's a fucking war. Whatever. I'm so salty. You don't understand. I'm so salty. In between this, we get a Roman POV where he doesn't remember shit, and he's at Dacre's side typing propaganda for him. And one night, he actually wakes up from a dream where his sister died. So it was a memory, but, he woke up for it super disturbed, and he was like, was that a dream? Was that a memory? That felt really real. And now I'm, like, real shaken up and real sad. And he goes downstairs. By the way, they're staying at the sacked B&B. I still hate that name. Call it something else. That was weird. Letter B, and letter B. Weird. Why not give it an actual fucking name? They're staying at Marisol's. And, of course, he doesn't know that. He comes downstairs, and Dacre's in the kitchen, and this shit gave me the ick. Roman's like, I came down for a glass of warm milk. I believe in judging people sometimes for trivial shit, okay? Let me first say that. Milk? Aren't you, like, 19? Like, I don't want to say grow up, but, like, milk? The amount of times that milk is brought up in this book, like, it's brought up way too much for my liking. If they're talking about, like, tea and milk, that's fine. Milk? Just straight up milk. Drinking glasses of milk. Why is everyone so obsessed with milk? I don't want to talk about it. You said milk so many fucking times in that chapter. Like, no, stop it, please. Anyway, it kind of gave me the ick, and I don't know what that says about me. Think whatever you want. Not for me. And Dacre's like, what'd you do? And he's like, sir, I was just getting a glass of warm milk. And Dacre was like, well, why? You remembered something? And he was like, no, I just had a weird dream. I think it might have been a memory, though. It was like, why would something so terrible that you dreamed about, because Roman explained, why would you want to remember something like that? Even if it was real, just let it go. which is so manipulative. Shortly before this, Dacre actually had Roman choose between his typewriter and Iris's. And he was like, which one was yours? And, he touched him, and he felt things from both of them, because he had connections to Iris, obviously. And he let him know which one was his, and Dacre said, okay, destroy the other one. But turns out Dacre actually gave him Iris's typewriter. You might be thinking, what a stupid fucking mistake. No, it was purposeful. Dacre doesn't want him remembering anything. He keeps people foggy. He represses their memories, and they feel indebted to him because he saved their lives. That's most of his soldiers, which is really fucked up. Follow up, because this is never explained. Gods only have one power unless they obtain it through other means. How is Dacre able to repress people's memories by healing them? That is never explained. How does that work? And when you break control of his little spell, you start fucking your wounds that he healed open back up. Remember Forrest bleeding out in the middle of the woods going, it's fine, it'll pass. He's still alive, but he's in a tremendous amount of pain. And that kind of opens up when you're no longer under Dacre's thumb. How does that work? How does he know that? Because he doesn't actually know. It's revealed that he doesn't know when you remember things, but the magic knows? What? I know I didn't miss something pertaining to that, because I was asking that all the fucking time. I know I probably missed some things in this series, this duology, finished duology, by the way. I didn't miss that. Huh? Huh? No sense. Roman, he's just basically being manipulated and starving and walking around with Dacre's forces for most of the book, and also not remembering things. Iris finally reaches out to him, or at least tries to, with some cryptic shit, to see if Roman has the Alouette, so they can still talk, because the magical tie between the two. He does, and he eventually kind of vaguely responds who the fuck are you? But they start up a pen pal thing, and she uses her middle name, Elizabeth, and I actually really liked that because it kind of felt full circle. He did that with his middle name, Carver, and, she didn't know who he was, and now he doesn't know who she is, and it was just, that was cute. I really liked that. Eventually, he starts to just divulge some secrets, specifically how Dacre plans on sacking this city or town called Hawkshire, and he kind of reveals that it'll be an ambush. How is it an ambush, you might ask? There's magical doorways just throughout the whole continent, I guess, that lead to the underworld. I don't know if they use that word. I'm calling it that just for ease. And he can move his forces between there. Marisol's B&B actually has a gateway, and it's just one of the ways that they're able to travel and ambush. And so they planned on doing that with this place called Hawkshire. As soon as Iris gets that letter, she's like, I gotta tell them. And so she convinces Tobias to take her and Addie to Hawkshire to deliver that news. They end up making it to Keegan. She got promoted in the time that we didn't see her. She's now brigadier. She's like, you need to read this. This is vital information. you're gonna get ambushed. All of you are gonna die. Turns out that this is all that's left of Enva's forces. Everyone else died. Like, it is just the people in this town, which is crazy. They are losing so hard. Also, when Roman sent that letter to Iris about Dacre's plans, he said, burn my words. Don't tell anyone about this, please. Like, because he would be found out. She knew she had to, which, you know, she had to save lives. That's understandable. They start preparing to move and, like, set up blockades and stuff like that. They had so many wounded, and they knew that they couldn't leave any behind because they would be healed by Dacre and turned against them. They ended up getting everyone out safely. The Tobias, Addie, Iris, they stayed behind to help, and they were going to take a shortcut, like, down, like, a tinier road that was, like, faster, because the trucks couldn't go through those roads. So they were like, hey, we can help. We'll take this tiny road, but, like, we want to make sure everyone's out of here. Everything's fine. They start going down maybe, like, a mile away, and another time when I have to lean back, isn't it so sad? This shit takes it out of me. Addie pissed me off. Or rather, the author pissed me off. Addie is a smart character. She is. Just straight up, she's a smart character. She doesn't do stupid shit. This, though? This was stupid as fuck. Her and Tobias, from, like, when they met, started having, like, flirty vibes, which is cute. I was here for it. Except for when they're trying to get away from Hawkshire and leave, and Addie's, like, teasing him and flirting with him while he's driving, and, like, leaning up close to him, like, behind his neck, like, saying shit in his ear, like, girl, you are going so fucking fast down this dark-ass road, distracting a driver? Excuse me? Please, have common sense. So he hits a fucking pothole, and tire's flat. They have to fix it. Apparently they don't have a tire iron, whatever that is. And Iris is like, I'll jog back into town and go get it. Before we get to what happens next, I just want to say I would have fucking preferred if there was some sort of animal in the road that Tobias swerved to avoid, and then he hit the pothole. Why did it have to be Addie's fault? Why did that need to be there? Because that doesn't make any fucking sense. That's a smart character. You had her do that for no reason other than to look dumb and to, like, further the plot because of what happens next. But you didn't need to do that. There were other ways to get the car to have a flat tire. That's just lazy writing, and also, like, I don't know, that made me feel some type of way. I did not care for that. Iris is on her way back to Hawkshire. She is looking around. She ends up in this house with this parlor downstairs. She goes upstairs because she hears footsteps. Remember, the town's evacuated. She goes upstairs, hides in this closet, gripping, like, this wrench or whatever it is, like, for her fucking life. We cut to Roman's POV. Dacre's forces are marching into Hawkshire through the portals, or the doorways, I should say. He's nervous as fuck. He's like, I'm a correspondent. I shouldn't be here. He's essentially shitting his pants. There's this person who we see a lot, called Lieutenant Shane. He tells Roman, look, go upstairs, make sure no one's here, check under beds, check everywhere, make sure no one's here. And Roman's the only one who's told this. He goes upstairs, he does it. As he's going upstairs, he realizes that, like, this is a fool's errand. He did this, Lieutenant Shane did this to get Roman out of the way, because he was a nervous fucking wreck, which I kind of get. Lo and behold, he's looking around. He sees Iris. He finds her in the closet. There is like this moment. She reveals herself to him. I'm your wife. Like, please leave with me. Come with me. He says no, he has to stay. It turns out after this interaction, when he touched her hand to, help her out of the window before she begged him to come with her, he remembered everything. He remembered everything. Sure enough, as soon as he helps her get away, he goes downstairs out onto like some street. He can't fucking breathe because the poison gas, like, it feels like it's filling his lungs, like it's scarring his lungs. He feels like he can't breathe. Like, he was gravely injured before he died. He was like a minute away from dying. Feeling that all over again because he got his memories back. I ask you again, how the fuck does that work? How the fuck does that work? I don't understand. We cut to Iris running away. People see her and they start shooting at her. And she's like dodging bullets. Trying to run to the car. Car's not fucking there. She's like, are you shitting me? The car ends up coming back around Tobias and Addie. Tire's fixed. Why? The tire iron was under a blanket in the trunk. They had a very smart person and another smart person who owns the vehicle, who put things in the vehicle, not know that it was under a blanket. I want to fucking scream. I hate it. I hate it so much. That could have happened so many other ways. Why did you make two characters who aren't dumb act fucking dumb? Twice in a row. Maybe I'm reading into things, but it feels especially icky because they're people of color. Like, damn. Not only are you going to have them act out of character, but you're going to have them be dumb twice, and they just so happen to be people of color. I don't like that. That's lazy writing. That could have happened so many other ways to get her to meet Roman. That could have happened so many other ways. Why the fuck did you choose that path? Did no one think, hey, maybe this is a little weird? That's not really those characters acting like those characters. Did no one think that? Could we not have chalked it up to even magic in the world? Help me. I can't. Okay. They drive away. They're driving back to Oath. They eventually get to Oath. They meet up with Keegan's forces who are outside of the city limits, and the Chancellor is like, you guys can't come in here. No. And Keegan's like, okay, fine, we'll camp out here outside of the city limits. Can you at least take our wounded to your hospital? Can they seek medical attention? They are dying. They are wounded. And the Chancellor's like, we'll take that under consideration. I'll get back to you on that. The wounded and the dying? Bitch, what? Like, okay, rude. I knew you were crusty and kind of rocked with daiquiri. I didn't know you rocked with daiquiri that hard. Fuck. Iris even, like, invites Keegan and Marisol, like, you can come stay with Forrest and I. Like, you don't have to be out here. And Keegan's like, I want to spend time with my wife. I missed her. And this shit looks like it ain't going well. I want to spend time with my wife. I believe while... Ooh, okay, this was a little before. But it turns... I think it was a little before. I don't remember the fucking... I'm sorry. That's bad storytelling. That's unprofessional of me. I apologize. I'm only human. I'm human who wrote down notes and is not looking at them because this shit pisses me off so much. I hope you understand. So, Dacre goes to visit one of the other graves. Loose Skyward, the only other Skyward that was buried. Enva wasn't buried. And he goes in there, down into the grave, and Roman's like, why? Dacre comes out pretty shortly, after, looking fucking pissed. Something that Lieutenant Shane said earlier to Roman kind of clicked in here. Dacre may only have one power, but that does not stop gods from obtaining others. How does a god obtain other powers? You kill another god, and you inherit their powers. But when humans kill gods, the magic, all of their magic, disappears from the world. For example, if the god of the sun gets killed by a human, bye-bye, no more sun. Anything that he imbued with sunlight, any little thing, is gone from the world. Poof, bye. So, Dacre wanted to go to the other graves, the other 3 gods, and kill them and absorb their powers. The other 2 gods that were buried were his cousin Mir, who controlled illusions and then could touch you and read minds. And he got that power because he went and killed another god, so he was only the god of illusions and shit. And then he killed some other god. Okay. Scary. The other god, I think it was Ava. That was Dacre's sister. And she was basically the goddess of dreams and nightmares. She could control dreams and nightmares and then walk through people's dreams and nightmares and witness them, I think. Kind of creepy and cool. Ooh. Kind of creepy and cool. Ooh. So, Luce is dead. Or was woken up. Roman isn't sure which. Both are kind of bad. Luce was the god of rain and harvest. And Dacre was pretty insignificant powers, huh? And Roman was he said internally, no, the humans will die. Well, yes, Roman. Yes. Intuitive thinking. He just wanted more power. We also find out at some point that there were hundreds of gods at one point. Hundreds. And now there's 2. 2? Enva, Skyward, and Dacre. Underling. 2? Because guess what? Luce, Mir, Ava, dead. Dead. Bye. Gone. Enva killed them. In their graves. Okay, Ruthless. Okay. It is revealed later that she did that because she was afraid of Dacre waking up and killing them and taking their power. So, had to, right? But then, why didn't she kill Dacre like she did with the others? Why? Isn't that so weird? The answer is yes. It is weird. And the reason is fucking stupid. It infuriated me. I cannot deal. I'm dramatic. I'm a dramatic gal, okay? Just let me live. Enjoy. Just be here for the ride. Be here for me, freaking out. Okay, let's resume. Things are bad in Oath. Turns out, while Iris and Addie were away for like a couple weeks, I guess who rose to power? A third group. A third group, you might be asking. This wasn't mentioned before, you might be saying. Alexa didn't say anything about this, you might be saying. That's true. That's because shit diddly was mentioned about it before now. There's a third group called the Graveyard. And they don't think any god should be around or have power. So you know what they do? They set a curfew for the city of Oath. And they shoot people who break that curfew. That's how you solve that. That's how you solve that issue, am I right? Who gave you that power? Who gave you that power? I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that it's book 2. We're like fucking more than halfway through and we're being introduced to like this third group of power, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're not like that significant. No, they are. They like hold a lot of power. Why? Why are you doing that so late in the game? Plant seeds in book 1. Like, to be fair, there was like 1 or 2 seeds planted at the beginning of this book. Talking, like, during the heist, Iris saw like 4 people in masks and guns. And they were like, oh, maybe they're just gonna rob someplace else. That's so weird. And then there was also like spray paint like gods belong in their graves. Okay, which is why they're called the Graveyard. Super creative. Wow. I'm clapping. They're basically running Oath now. Dagger's on his way. He's on his way through the tunnels underground, which fell into like collapse and ruin like the whole underworld did while he was asleep for 100 years. They're slowly like clearing them out, and they are clearing a path to Oath, which is where all this is about to go down. During, you know, the little like Roman, Irish, like whatever, Roman ends up saying like, hey, I remember. And he fully answers like the cryptic questions that she had initially sent when she was trying to find out if like Roman even had like the Aluette. And she's like, oh my god, yeah, he remembers. Yeah, it's exciting. It's so exciting. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. Roman basically asks to go and play spy, I think, to go meet with Iris under the guise of wanting her to join Dacre's side, because Dacre wants her. Isn't one person enough? Isn't one journalist enough? He just like got all butthurt because she posted the myth about Dacre being sung to sleep by Enva for 100 years. He just got all bitter about that. You don't need her. You have Roman. It's enough. And nevertheless, Dacre's like, okay, yeah. Go have this meeting for me, because y'all were work acquaintances, right? Yeah. She's stubborn and annoying and like, I don't love her. He didn't say that, but like, he can't let Dacre know that he remembers and he loves her. And they're married and all that jazz. They have the meeting where Roman's acting like super cold because he feels like someone's watching. Indeed, someone is watching. He also asked Dacre if he could spend the night with his family. And while he does that, you know, he sneaks Iris into like his family home, into his room through like this trellis and climbing it, whatever. They spend the night together. It's like fade to black. Okay. I mean, it's fine. I was like nervous that they'd get caught. Turns out, during this one night that Roman was away, Dacre marched all of his forces into Roman's family home, into the parlor. Yeah. You know how his house is magical from, like, the first book? It had a gateway to the underworld. And so that's his home base now. That's Dacre's home base. His war room is inside of the parlor of Roman's mansion. Roman's family home mansion. Roman's family mansion. Yikes, right? Also, during this, like, Dacre's, like, casually asking, like, hey, you in pain? You need me to heal? Like, sometimes I just, like, I don't really know how bad it is, you know? So, like, I could always heal you again if you need. And Roman's like, nope, no. Stifling coughs, like, left and right. Because man's feeling like fucking poison in his lungs. Because he knows that if Dacre heals him again, he'll wipe his memories. And he can't have that happen. He literally cannot afford that. So poor Roman is, like, feeling like he's fucking dying all the time. It sucks to read. Not because it's bad, but because it's, like, uncomfortable. There's a press conference that's gonna be held where Dacre is essentially gonna gather all the big shots in Oath and speak to them, and it's gonna be like a surprise, like, surprise, Dacre's here. Oh my god. Iris was invited to this by the Chancellor because she was. Help me. I'm dying. And it's been 45 minutes and I'm not done yet. I can't talk about this anymore. The morning after, Lieutenant Shane, I recall, like, I mentioned him once before. He approaches Roman and he basically shows him the letter that he had sent to Iris with, like, plans. And he's like, I know you're the mole. I know you're a fucking rat. Dacre had suspected a mole after Hawkshire, and the plans were foiled. So Shane has blackmail against, like, Roman, but he didn't turn him in, which means Shane's also a mole. What's he a mole for? The graveyard. Okay. Shane says, I will reveal you to Dacre as the mole unless you give this envelope. Don't fucking open it. Don't open it. Don't open it and read it. Unless you give this little envelope note to a man wearing, like, a flower pin or something, an anemone. It's a flower pin. He's in the crowd. He's going to be at the crowd, like, in the crowd at the press conference. Roman tries. He's looking. He doesn't have much time because Shane's like, after you do that, leave. Dip. Fucking run. And Roman's trying to find this person to give the note to. He's running out of time. He sees Iris across the way talking to one of Dacre's soldiers, and he's like, oh my god, I know this shit's gonna go bad. She's here. And he's just, like, fucking shocked. He's stunned in silence. So he knows he's out of time. He opens up the little envelope. He reads it. And it says, one blast won't do. You have to cut off the head. Saying that you have to decapitate Dacre. Blowing him up won't be enough. So, oops. And then a bomb goes off at the press conference. Roman is being dragged away as it goes off. By who? One of his father's sketchy associates. He's also part of the graveyard! I'm tired of the crusty men being part of the graveyard. Who cares? Who cares? I'm sorry I'm whining so much. I'm really sorry. I hope it's entertaining. It's probably not. As you can tell, this book caused me pain. There was turmoil that I went through because of this book. Good job. He starts freaking out like, my wife, when he notices it's his father's associate. And he's like, there's no time. And then he knocks him out with like the butt of his gun to get him to like leave, basically. We cut to Iris's POV eventually, because, you know, needed the suspense. She's alive. She ended up running away. The Dacre soldier that was talking to her kind of like took the brunt of the blast of like pieces of wood from the stage that blew up. Like, he took the brunt of it. She just like had some fucked up like skin knees, basically. As she was like rising up, Dacre made eye contact with her and he was walking towards her. Terrifying. She ended up running away. Good job. And curfew was about to start, meaning the graveyard's gonna start shooting people. The only place that's close enough is the museum, which has like magical, like it's a magical building, so it's a little quirky, essentially. It's gonna lock its doors at like a certain time. So once you slip in there, if you're there after closing time, you're locked in. Okay. Iris makes it in just barely. And she's trailing blood everywhere. And she hears footsteps, and so she's like crawling away. And she's leaving like a trail of blood. And a security guard finds her. And it's this woman with like long dark hair with like some gray streaks. And she's not wearing a name badge. And she looks like real nice and friendly. And she helps clean her up. During this time, this security guard woman is like, why don't you drink some of this tea? It'll help, you know, just, it's fine. You're fine. I'm not gonna, you know, hurt you or anything. Like, I just want to help you and just get some rest. Iris ends up falling asleep and she has a weird ass dream. Enva, it turns out, is just telling her, hey, this is a sword that you can kill gods with. All you have to do is like cut your hand with it, offer it your blood, and you can kill gods with it. It's a magical sword that's killed many gods, and it belonged to, long ago, a king. Like, before it was split up into, like, chancellors and shit. It belonged to a king. Who killed a lot of gods with it, I guess. And she's like, you need to do this. And Iris is like, why? And, you know, Enva essentially tells her, like, I killed the other gods, so Dacre couldn't get the power. But at the end of the day, I don't think I could kill him. Huh? I had to close the book. Because the way it was worded, it sounded like I just kind of still love him. I kind of still love him a little bit. Yeah, like, you know, before we got married and he killed all those people so I'd come to him so he'd stop, and then we got married. And then I was basically like a captive, and I escaped, and then I put him to sleep for 100 years. And he started killing more people and started a whole war to get to me, to get my attention again. Yeah, but like, I kind of still love him though. If Dacre doesn't die, he will become the only god left. And he's not a cool god, he's not chill. It'd be the end of the world. It just would. One way or another, it's gonna be the end of the world. No matter how long he's in power, a human's gonna come along and kill him. And everything would fall apart. That's revealed, by the way. When there's no more gods left, the world ceases to exist. Okay. Yeah. I had to close the book after that. I was like, I'm sorry, this is so fucking stupid. It's so stupid. Iris relays this to Roman at some point, and he's pissed, asking questions like, why you? Why do you have to do it? Because she gives her the sword. Spoiler alert, if you couldn't tell, the security guard was Enva the entire time. Iris just didn't know it. Enva reaches out through a dream again to Iris. And that's when Iris asks, like, why can't you kill him? And she reveals that when Skywards make vows, they hold weight. There's like some magical bond when you make a vow. When her and Dacre got married, she vowed never to like hurt him or kill him or something, and so she can't. Guys, the book isn't called Ruthless Vows just because of Iris and Roman's vows. It's called that because of the one that Enva made too. On the list of this is stupid and there could have been a better explanation, this guy's at number 1. It overtook Addie being stupid in the card. I'm just gonna lay here for a second. We're almost done. Home stretch. Iris is like, oh, so it has to be me. Also, Enva is playing this song for her. And Iris has had this dream of her mother, like, listening to a song going, don't you love this song? Her mother's dead, so it's weird because Iris is like, I've never heard this song. It turns out Enva's like, this is the song that will put him to sleep. But it has to be played in the underworld. I don't know why. My guess, because it's not explained, my guess is that the underworld, the reason there's also like magical doors is because there's ley lines of magic, like power. And when you're in there, you're closer to the magic, closer to the power. So that's why that song only works in the underworld place, I guess. Sure. That's my guess, because it's not explained. Not that I saw. Not that I read. So, she ends up meeting up with Addie, saying like, hey, I dreamt about Enva. And Addie's like, did you hear the lullaby too? And Iris is like, yeah, you too? And Addie's like, I'm gonna practice it on my violin. Because we need to kill him. Remember, Iris has the sword. They're the power duo. Also, just like a couple things about the vow. Also, you might be wondering why Enva hasn't been with her forces fighting. That's because after she put the other gods to sleep, the king, whoever he was at the time, like, was scared of her and her power. And so he made her vow to, like, stay an oath. I don't know why. I don't know what that's gonna do to her power, but okay. So she made the vow, and so she has to, because skyward vows and underling vows don't work the same way. I don't think she said they didn't, and he also didn't vow to like not kill or harm her. So he's going to. Why did you not know about skyward vows before you got married to him? Surely you didn't think that was gonna go well when he was killing people to get your attention so y'all could get married. Surely you had to grow up knowing, or however gods, like, surely you were told that skyward vows held power. Surely. Right? No, I guess not. Or she's fucking dim-witted. I'm sorry, that's not nice, but like... Hey, I'm just checking in, are we good? Because I'm struggling. I can do this, right? We're almost there. I said that like 15 minutes ago. Okay. Anyway. Addie's practicing, And meanwhile, like these next couple days that she's practicing this lullaby, Iris essentially is summoned by Dacre to, like, come and write something for her. Why did he need her to do it? Because honestly, after reading it, you could have had Roman do it. Why her? He has her write, like, some frilly shit about, like, join my side, I'm merciful. But also, tomorrow, if by noon you're not in the northern side of town, I'm going to bomb the southern side of town. If you're in the northern side of town, you're safe because you stand with me. If you're in the southern side of town, I'm going to bomb you. 12 p.m. noon. Okay. And he told Iris, like, print that in tomorrow's paper. And she's like, it's way too late, man. They're already printing. And he's like, I don't care, figure it out. So she runs over to the printer and tries to get it to print. Roman convinces Dacre, like, I should follow her to make sure. So he does. Takes a while, but, you know, she ends up getting it printed. And in the meanwhile, she tells, like, the head print master or whatever, hold the Oath Gazette too. Hold the Incredin Tribune so we can print this. Hold the Gazette, because I have a fucking idea. They set up, like, a fake advertisement for, like, a list of addresses, like, oh, hey, these are going for sale or something. But secretly, they are places known to have, like, to be magical buildings. Iris had gotten this idea from Marisol's when it was getting bombed and the house still stood. Like, it got a little fucked up, but it still stood because it was kind of magical. Any buildings that are on ley lines that are magical will not fall to the bombings. So they made a list, like, her, Helena, and Tobias made a list of magical buildings to try and, like, at least get people to safety. Like, you don't have to go to the north. Take cover in one of these places, please. And she's going back to the office to, like, hide the sword, I think. I don't know. She's going back to the office to do something, and Roman comes up and follows her, and they get a little steamy. And he walks her home, kind of, like, kisses her, because they know, like, tomorrow's the day. Turns out Roman was being followed. So he went out to follow Iris, and he was being followed in turn. And he gets back, and Dacre's like, you fucking rat. You little fucking rat. I'm gonna kill you. You're a mole. Shane provided the letter, like, the blackmail against Roman because he didn't deliver on the bombing, like, envelope thing to pass off. He goes kicking and screaming. He's dragged into, like, the underworld to be shackled and, like, fed to the Ethereals, like the winged dragon things, drakes, monsters. Yeah, he's gonna be their food. I don't know why you don't just, like, kill him outright, but okay. Plot armor, convenience. That's why, in my opinion. Iris, Addie, and Roman had a deal to go meet in the northern side of town to drag Dacre to the underworld, like, to get him there, like, as a ruse, so they could sing him to sleep and kill him. Or not sing him to sleep, but, like, play the song, put him to sleep, kill him. Roman somehow put 7 and 26 together and was like, he has to control the Ethereals when he's, like, underground, because they just, like, bomb anything that moves. So he must be underground when he does it. That's a fucking stretch. That is a stretch to go off of. Y'all are banking on a lot. And if they're going to bomb the southern side of town, he's going to use the Ethereals, which, yeah, that's fine. But, like, y'all are banking on a lot for him to be down there. Because Roman was going to let them through with, like, a key that he had stolen from one of the dead, like, trusted people. Oh, yeah. The underworld, the doorways are opened by special keys, and there's only 5 of them. And one of the people who held them died at the press conference, so Rome was going to steal it and open it. So, after Roman's discovered, Dacre sends off one of his trusted individuals to go, like, kill Iris. And so he breaks in, and she ends up killing him with the sword to protect Forrest from because it's like a whole thing. And she takes the key. And she goes to meet up with Addie the next morning, the day. And is like, I think it'd be too risky if you and I were going to the northern side of town, like all the way over there, with a fucking violin and a fucking sword. I think that'd be too risky. Let's just use the key that I got. I hope Roman's okay. And they're like, okay, yes, slay. Then we got like 3 pages of them trying to find like a magical building for Addie's family. Unnecessary. We have like 40 pages left or something. Unnecessary. Something else I forgot to mention. When Iris came home, Sarah was there. Sarah Prindle was in her home. And her and Forrest are dating, and she's been staying there. And it's cute. And how that happened was when Iris went off, Sarah had come like, hey, you have any news about Iris? I just, you heard from her? Is she okay? He was like cold and distant. And she was like, he looked so sad and lonely. So I said like, oh, I'll bring dinner. And then he made me dinner the next night. And so we're kind of a thing. So when the time is about to come, when the bombing time is about to come, Forrest is like out looking for Sarah. Iris gave Forrest a list of magical buildings. Like, y'all need to meet us here because that's where Addie's family is going to be. Y'all need to whatever. They went to this place, didn't work out, left a note for them. Whatever. There's like 3 minutes left and the bombs are gonna drop. Turns out that the little cafe that's been like mentioned a couple times is magical and everyone's fine, like there. Like Addie's family is fine there. And because it's magical, it means it has a doorway. And so Addie and Iris go down there. There's like a mini fight scene and they kill Dacre. And that's all you need to know, really. During this, Roman's still being chained up and like the Ithels are still gonna like kind of eat him. And he remembers to stay still. So he like avoids death that way. And Shane also like comes to get him. Because he was like, you didn't rat me out when I ratted you out. So I owed you. Motherfucker. Huh? And that's when Roman confronts him and he's like, so you're at the graveyard? And he's like, yeah. And Roman's like, you could have not fought for Dacre. Shane was like, oh, you did. And he was like, motherfucker, I didn't have a choice. You had a choice. Fuck you. And that was that's the last we hear from him. From Shane. Good fucking riddance. I didn't care. We're so close. Dacre's dead. Roman is held as like a captive for any of Dacre's forces because, Dacre is dead. So it's like, okay, they lost. And so the graveyard starts rounding up Dacre's soldiers to like put them in a fucking firing line and execute them. Iris is alerted to this and she runs with like proof that Roman was a spy the entire time. She saves him from the firing line. He ends up being hospitalized and that the graveyard is like penalized because that's war crimes. Well, yeah, duh. They didn't have trials. Like, why did y'all think that would be? Fuck them. Why do they solve everything with guns, man? That's upsetting. Roman's in a hospital for like a couple days. During this time, the following like 3 days after the bombing happened, Iris is looking for Forrest because he never showed up at like one of the safe places. And she knew that he went to go get Sarah, and a couple days later, she finds them under some rubble. They died together. It almost felt, and this is the only way I'm going to in no other way does this relate to that, but it kind of felt like a Hunger Games moment where Prim ended up dying in the end. The whole reason Iris did any of this was to find Forrest initially, because she hadn't heard from him in like 6 months. And so he ended up dying in the end. I liked that happened. I liked that the author chose to do that. It was really sad. It was emotional. I did enjoy that part of the book. I can't lie. They also did a little montage, so it was alluded to that he and Sarah had died, but they did a montage of other characters that we had met throughout the series of what they were doing when the bomb started going off. We got something from Keegan and Marisol, and that's the last we heard of them. They were just holding each other on like the hill outside of Oath City limits. Tobias was with Addie's family. Forrest and Sarah were about to be crushed by debris. And Helena from the Anchorage Tribune was drinking and writing in the office, thinking this is where she wanted to die. It was nice. I did enjoy the montages. Eventually, Roman is let out of the hospital, and we have then the next 2 chapters where it does a 3-month time skip, showing us that Roman and Iris are going to move in together to their own place. And then we have a year time skip where they're enjoying their house, and Roman is writing a book, and Iris is helping him edit it, and she still has her job at the Anchorage Tribune, and it's nice. We then have an epilogue from Enva that I don't give a shit about. Also, as I had said earlier, when a human kills a god, their magic disappears from the world. All of the soldiers that Dacker healed started succumbing to their wounds. So how Roman didn't get rushed to the hospital, like, how that didn't happen and he, like, died before he got to the hospital, I don't fucking know. But he's on medication for the rest of his life, managing his symptoms. He'll never be fully healed. He'll never be fully okay. His lungs are really scarred from it, and, like, you know, his leg's still kind of fucked up. But yeah, that's where we end the book. Enva sucks. Fuck her. Also, lazy writing, that was the reason. Also, why Iris and Roman? Why were they chosen to do that? And Addie, like, why were they chosen? There's so many other people who could have done that job. Why them? Never explained. It was infuriating. Those questions were always with me, and I never learned the answers. All that said, surprisingly, this book actually wrapped things up really well. I usually find the endings of books to be kind of disappointing with the way that things are ended and wrapped up and that kind of thing. This one wasn't wrapped up poorly. It was wrapped up really well. It was nice to get an insight on their life afterwards, and like some of the time skips. I really enjoyed that. I consider it to be the epilogue, and it's not really, but I really enjoyed that section of like getting a peek into their lives after, and you know, that was wrapped up really well. I just think that some of the choices made along the way were really stupid, and it made it really hard to read. And it made me very frustrated, obviously. That being said, I can't wait to start my next book. And it's long as fuck. So you're not getting another video like this. Fuck no, but I am going to do a video about it. I'm just not going to do like an in-depth plot breakdown and review and whatever. Well, I am going to do a review. It was enjoyable. The first book was really enjoyable. There were enjoyable moments in this book, but I unfortunately could not look past its flaws. I could not look past the plot holes. I could not look past the problems and the unanswered questions. There you go. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion with my review. I was kind of like losing my fucking mind. So like, take it with a grain of salt. Like, if you feel like you might enjoy this book, or if you just want to form your own opinion, please do. We're all different. We're all human, and we're all like, we have our own tastes. Go read this series if you feel like you might like it. If you feel like it might be for you. I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you, but like, if you watched all this, I don't think you really care about spoilers. Don't take my opinion for like law. Form your own opinion. Do what you want to do. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your whatever it is for you. I will see you soon. Bye.